Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about another underrated 90s action movie. This is The Replacement Killer, starring Chow Yun-Fat and Mira Sorvino. It also has an excellent supporting cast with Michael Rooker, Kenneth Zhang, Jurgen Prochnow, Danny Trejo, and Till Schweiger. It is also the directorial debut of Antoine Fuqua, who went on to do the Equalizer films, Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, and Training Day. He's done several other films as well. He's been a very successful director since his debut here. This movie was also executive produced by John Woo, and his presence can be felt in a lot of the action scenes, which I'll describe later. But John Woo, in the late 90s, was a very hot director. He was fresh off of Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He did Broken Arrow with John Travolta and Christian Slater, which was very successful. And then his biggest success in 1997 was Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. So when you put John Woo's name on something, it really meant a lot back then, and Antoine Fuqua was just starting out. But you can also see his print on it as well. There are some of his style. I could see some similarities in The Replacement Killers I noticed in The Equalizer when I was watching this the other night. So, the plot here is pretty simple. This is Chow Yun-Fat's American movie debut. He did some Hong Kong action classics with John Woo. And here, he does very well, especially with his facial expressions. But here he plays an assassin, John Lee, who is indebted, has a familial debt with the Chinese crime boss, and Mr. Wei, played by Kenneth Zhang. And Kenneth Zhang, Mr. Wei's son, gets busted by Zhukov, Michael Rooker's character, in a deal that went bad. And he tries to resist, and Zhukov is a pretty much by-the-book cop. And he's like, don't do this. And Mr. Wei's son tries to shoot him, so he kills him in self-defense. It's a justified shooting. But Mr. Wei wants to take out Zhukov. He wants to take out, like, you're a cop, you kill my family. So there is going to be retribution for this. So he calls in John Lee. Because it's a cop and a well-known cop, they need an outsider. So he calls in John Lee, who is fresh off an assassination where they start the movie out with. And he tells him, if you do this job for me, because we need an outsider, your debt to me, your family's debt to me, is over. You're free to go. So he sets out to do this, and he finds where Zhukov hangs out, and he gets in the sniper's position with his scope and gets Zhukov and his family in the crosshairs of his rifle. But something goes wrong inside his mind, and he can't do it. And Chow Yun-Fat conveys this really well just through facial expressions. Where Chow Yun-Fat's English, was a new language to him, his facial expressions are still amazing. So that helps convey the story really well. So when he has him in the crosshairs, you see the expression in his face that he doesn't want to do this, and he can't bring himself to do it, so he doesn't do it. But now he knows there will be consequences, especially for his family back home in China. So he has to use his resources to get some papers to get back to China to protect his family, because he went against Mr. Wei's wishes, which is something you don't do. Now, he has to find someone who will give him papers that's not connected to Mr. Wei, which is hard to do because Mr. Wei controls a lot of that kind of trade in his area of Los Angeles. So he finds Meg Colburn, Mira Sorvino's character, who's kind of a feisty, independent woman who doesn't take a lot of crap. And so he meets her, and he gives her a grant and said, I need papers. And she's a little suspicious, but he gives her a lot of money, so she doesn't ask questions, she does it. But Mr. Wei's people start to come. And so Meg has to get on the action too, and there's a shootout in her office, and all her equipment's destroyed. She gets arrested by Zhukov and questioned, but let go. And John Lee's on the run, just trying to get back to China. So he's looking around and he doesn't have long, and he doesn't have many resources. So after Meg is let out of jail by Zykov, he seeks her out again and pretty much tells her, you got to come with me against your will, but I'm also your best shot to get out of this alive. So they kind of have to form an alliance here. And Mira Sorvino's character is pretty strong and feisty, and I really like that about her. But you see some vulnerability, which Mira Sorvino conveys really well here. And they begin to develop mutual admiration for one another when she learns about what John Lee stands for, and she learns about herself too, because they both are criminals, but they have lines they won't cross, and they have some principles. So they begin to develop this mutual admiration, but they have to keep going on an adventure to try to so she can make some papers for him, passport and stuff, since all her equipment was destroyed. So they go on an adventure, and hence the title, The Replacement Killers. Mr. Way brings in some high-profile assassins played by Danny Trejo and Till Schweiger, and shootouts occur everywhere, in a car wash, in an arcade, just all over. And it's just bullet ballet galore, which John Woo's signature, which when you see it, even in the opening scene, when Chow Yun-Fat's character John Lee turns to shoot, there's this slow motion and the coat moves in the wind. That's a John Woo signature. So his presence was felt here, like I said. But as they go along to this, Chow Yun-Fat realizes he has to help Zykov now. And Zykov has to question some of his own beliefs, because these two individuals, Meg and John Lee, they're helping him. So what does he do? Because Mr. Way came after his family. So, that crosses his line. He was kind of a by-the-book cop, but now what does he do? His family's been in danger after a shootout in the movie theater. So everybody here has their own kind of conflicts and things they have to ask themselves. And their characters kind of have some interesting dilemmas they get to play with here, except Mr. Way. He's pretty much just a crime boss. He has his principles, and you better carry out his wishes or else. But the acting here is pretty good. Not necessarily always in the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue's fine. It's still an action movie, but the facial expressions really work here. And Mira Sorvino is great. You can see why she won an Oscar. But this movie I've grown to love over the years. When I first saw it in the theater, I was like, it's fine, but whatever. But I've really come to appreciate it more. And it's a great shoot-'em-up action movie with some style and a lot of cool symbolism. And the thing, too, the setting is kind of wintertime in Los Angeles. And, some of the production design with some of the Asian architecture and stuff is beautiful, yet gritty at the same time. It has a cool look to it, and I really like that. So overall, this movie's a blast. And it kind of fell under the radar because there was this little movie called Titanic, which was doing this 4-month run of staying #1 at the box office. So this, unfortunately, got kind of lost in the shuffle, which I think is a shame, because it's a great movie and a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of 90s action, definitely give this one a look. And if you've seen it, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and take care till next time.